Welcome to a new episode of Single Chain Stories, the podcast for musicians, artists, and creatives. My name is Kundra. With me, as always, is the wonderful Mordio. And today we have a very special guest that both of us are extremely excited about. With us today is Iftah Gabbai. Am I pronouncing that correct?
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Iftah, for those of you who don't know him, I know a lot of people in our audience do, especially if you use Ableton Live and are into generative sequencing. But Iftah is basically the person behind Sting and Sting 2. I think that's his most famous devices. He also made some amazing other devices. I, for example, in my live sets use all the time Big Time. Pyra is another one. So yeah, there's a lot of Max for Live devices that he made. He also worked with Ableton together. So I think the Performance Pack is also something that I'm using quite a lot in my Ableton live sets. So yeah, Iftah, it's an honor to have you here. How are you?
I'm great. It's also a very nice moment. I'm looking at both of you, and I think that you're both, like, two of you are one of my favorite Sting users because you're very, like, on the opposite scale. Like, I watched both of your movies. Yeah, it's very nice because I know Miles is doing very melodic stuff and Mordio usually doesn't.
No.
And yeah, and it's a very proud moment when you release something and you see what people actually do with it, and it's such a nice variety. Like to hear also this contrast. I'm enjoying your videos. That's what I wanted to say.
Oh, thank you.
In a very
That's
complicated
awesome.
way. Yeah, exactly. But I'm good actually.
Yeah.
Just starting the year, like. It's a bit of it's quite a date to do a podcast, the 8th of January.
Yeah, it is.
Waking up. And it was a pretty intensive year for me personally. Like, it was a very busy and intensive year because I went for it. I decided there was a lot of, not hesitation, but it was something that I was like asking myself for quite a long time. Am I going that route of like focusing on releasing devices basically 100% of the time? My own devices, not doing like, I don't know, contract work for other people or whatever. That was 2025 for me, which I am waking up from as we speak.
from the winter slumber.
Yeah.
It's cool that you make this decision because I also, like, I know you come from Skinner Box, so it's like you're an artist first of all, and you kind of fall into like one road, like we fall into like being teachers on YouTube. That was never the decision from us, it's just like it comes like this. And you end up being a developer. I think making this decision comes way later. So it's really interesting to hear that you're doing it like 25 actually first.
No, maybe I was a little bit confused.
The 100%.
Yeah, no. I mean, I stopped, like, I stopped my artistic career, not my artistic career, because I still do music. I actually released an album in December, but we dismembered. How do you call it when a band stops existing? Like,
Split up?
We split up, yeah, just when Corona started. Like, that was the moment we were active for like 17 years, like out of which we were touring for 15 years. And that was the moment we had like a second to think and decisions were made. And that was actually the moment where I realized, because also like some context, we were always like, additionally to making music, we back then also, were always dealing with music technology. Like, it was not the first, I think the drum machine, like the SPX 2049 that we released in 2009 was the first or the second Max for Live device that was released with Ableton, basically, together with the Schwarzenegger. I don't know if you know it. It's like, it's already vintage Max for Live devices. It's crazy that
I
we
know
can
all
say
the
that.
old ones. I remember when I found this like modding scene for Ableton, I was like, what? And then I found all this. The Schwarzenegger. That was also a really nice one.
Good one.
The Schwarzenegger, I think, what was the name of Alex Kidd's device? Instant House or something like this.
Okay, didn't know that one.
And the SBX 2049. So it was always there, like this aspect. But music was definitely the forefront. It was like I was a touring musician. And I think that just like during the pandemic, very early, became clear to me that I'm now interested in something else. That there's like a shift of interest, and I'm more interested in making things that make music rather than make the music itself. Which does not mean that I don't like, I still do make music sometimes, but my actual passion is meta music or things that make music or whatever.
Yeah.
Meta music, that's a nice term.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah, I actually stole it from the person that developed the Octa track. I think he said it before.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Well, that fits as well, yeah.
Okay, so that was kind of like from Skinner box to developer, the time frame.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, and it was pretty seamless because
Parallel also.
as soon as I stopped, I got commissioned to make the microtuner, which was a very big project. And this was followed by the performance pack. And I had some
You also did the CV pack, right?
CV tools, exactly, CV tools. But that was still in the Skinner box days, actually. That was like still when we were, it was a pretty long process, but it was still happening parallel to being an active musician. Yeah, and then I also got a very interesting opportunity to work for the University of Bonn, like to develop a research tool.
I saw that video from your channel.
I didn't see that. Which research tool was that?
I don't remember if I have a video about it.
I mean, you talked about that you did that, and from there you went from the
Right. Yeah. I developed an analysis tool for piano rolls, from the 18th, 19th century, basically.
Wow.
Which were like, we got scans, they were scanned in whatever, it's a very complicated process. And this tool was there to analyze micro timing within proto swing music, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, and this was a very, very interesting thing to do, actually. It was like about a year long, and I learned a lot. And this led me to also learn data science later on. Big, like, it's a bit of a long story, but everything was kind of seamless, basically. I was pretty lucky, yeah.
Yeah, nice. How did you get... Sorry.
No, just the last... So what I wanted to say is that like 2025 was the year that I decided to be Iftah the device maker 100%, like less than I do this and I do that, and I like to focus on accessibility first devices, and also soon more than devices, I guess, but yeah.
Okay, nice. I just wanted to ask kind of like, how did you start? Are you kind of like, did you work as a developer before, or is it all kind of like self-taught, or how did you get into making Max devices?
No, it came from a necessity. Like, it is self-taught, like many other Max developers, I guess. But I started using Max very early. Like, it was the beginning. It was beginning of the 2000s, like 2004, 4-ish. Approximately the same time I started to use Ableton. Like, there was no Max for Live back then. There was like Max and Ableton Live. And the reason I used it, it's actually a pretty interesting story. I went to the university in Berlin, to the Technical University, and I studied, like, the name was Kommunikationswissenschaft. It doesn't really exist anymore. It was like Naturwissenschaften, Grundlagen von Musik und Sprache. I don't know how you would translate it. It's like fundamentals of music and language, something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have a very interesting studio in Berlin, actually, with some pretty interesting stuff. And the head of the studio connected me to a sound artist named Andres Bossard, a Swiss sound artist. And he asked me, like, he was working on a sound installation in Berlin in a venue somewhere. And he asked me if he was trying to figure out a way to record wind movement, basically, and to translate it into sound. It was like 2004, 4-ish, 5-ish. And he asked me if I know how to use Max, and I said yes, but I didn't know how to use Max. I lied bluntly.
The classics.
And then I went home.
And you learned it overnight.
Downloaded the first cracked version I could find on my Pentium 3 laptop, basically. Yeah, so a necessity. a necessity. And then
I see.
I think the rule that followed is like to do things that I need, like not to do tutorials of ring modulators, but to develop things that I need. And then I had no choice but to actually manage to do them. Yeah, that's how I learned. Yeah.
So
Interesting.
actually the naturalist way you can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like
I
that.
mean,
I like that
yeah,
a lot.
Same. I mean, it's same with electronic music for me, at least. I never kind of like learned any of that. It's just all self-taught. I mean, I played bass guitar in a band for 10 years, but then I went to Ableton and synths, and that's all kind of like learning from community, learning from the internet. And yeah, that's, I think, for Florian the same, got us where we are. So it's great to hear that you kind of like made the same move and said, yeah, fuck it, I don't know it. I just want to I just want to learn it, or I tried to learn it overnight. That's
and
awesome.
then you learn it from others that just share the knowledge. It's like the same story, right? It's super nice. What I wanted to ask you a lot was you say a lot of time quality.
Yes.
Audio for everyone, kind of. And you also do this really with a clear message. You give your tools always with a price tag and for free, and there's no demo version. And I really respect that a lot in a society of today. I wanted to say that first. And then also second, ask you where this philosophy started, you know? Like why you do that, you know? Because I think this is more interesting when you just read that most of the time and you see the free button, you just click, but you don't know why. You're just like, nice guy.
Thank you very much. So, I mean, one of the things that drove me to take this decision to focus on making devices now and software in general is that I became really interested in the technical side of not only the technical side of accessibility, but accessibility in music in general. So for those of you that do not know, I develop accessibility first devices, meaning my devices are designed from the ground up to integrate with screen readers or other assistive technology and to be available to basically everyone, regardless of classes of disability. So and I actually want one solution for, like, I want two accessibility. I want one solution for everyone. I don't want any specialized tools for different people. So, and this is also one of the things that kind of drove me into taking this decision of focusing on making devices. Because, I mean, first of all, I'm just really, really interested in accessibility as a concept and a way of living. I don't know how to explain it, but or to say it better. And also, I'm really, really interested in the technical side of it. It helps me absorb this not very easy world we live in a little bit better, honestly. It's also a personal thing. And at some point, I also realized that if I do this, I want to go full on, and money is also a barrier. And I want to trust people, and I just don't want anyone not to be able to use it by whatever reason. So I thought, why won't I just try, basically? And honestly, I mean, the support is pretty overwhelming. It works really well. People really appreciate it. And the people that would pay anyways, I think. And the people that wouldn't, try it out. You know, I don't care. It's enough. Like for me personally, it's enough. And also it solves a lot of issues. Like it's, all of the stuff that always held me back. I really didn't feel like dealing with copy protection and user accounts and data collection. All of these, it does not matter. It simply does not matter anymore, because everybody can
give yourself the freedom.
Yeah, you can buy it, and if you bought it and you need to update it, you just go to my website and download the free version. I don't need to know where you live. I don't care, basically.
Yeah.
There's just so many like upsides, basically. I'm not saying that everybody should do it. It works really well for me. I'm never looking back.
I mean, you make your mark in the industry with that move, for sure. And I feel like, since I know also that you give the stuff for free, I'm happier, like, showing someone your device and be like, yeah, you can have that actually even for free if you want to try it out, and it makes the barrier very easy to show it to more people. And that gives you in the end also even more customers also, right? And also audience and community.
Absolutely.
We did like a workshop on Ableton HQ together. And when we came to the point where he was doing the hardware side and doing more the software side. And when we came to the point, the modding scene of Ableton and Max for Live, I needed to show one. Guess what? I show Sting and everyone just got the first contact and used Sting because it's really easy to use when you can just generate some MIDI notes and then put whatever you want in front of it, right? And getting a easier wow effect also in the beginning, because you would never maybe do that sequence. And I think this is the concept why I still love this machine so much, using it for everything.
Very nice.
Yeah. Same for me. It's like what I like about it, same as with Florian, is that it gives me a melody and I can focus more on the sound design itself. So I can kind of like work on the synthesizer that I have loaded up and the effects that I have behind it, and kind of like tweak the rack, and then I hit new to generate a new sequence, and I can just work on that. And I've done an ambient performance that's kind of like that's mainly based on Sting. Literally just before this session, I had a session with Sting sequencing my Mother 32, and it worked just so well, and I had so much fun. So yeah, I'm kind of like pushing currently ways of using it on the Push standalone, and it's awesome. And I can just agree to what also Florian said, with that you give it away for free and kind of like bring down the barrier, just is really a philosophy that I 100% support, as I'm really about community and I want to kind of like have as many people involved in the community and learn from each other and try tools. So that is amazing. And I'm now even more happy to support you in your future endeavors and whatever you will create, because that's a philosophy I just love.
Yeah, we have for sure this philosophy of this community-driven content or products and stuff. And I really love that philosophy. So it's really nice to hear that you are really behind that, because I like to support the tools that I share on the channel 100% then, I always check which company's behind everything and stuff. So in a way, did I get this right? CV Tools was the first contact point for you working properly with Ableton? Or was it something before?
No. It was in 2009, the SBX 2049. It's a drum machine that we did. Yeah. So
okay.
How long is it? Almost 20 years. Like
crazy.
15,
crazy.
16. Yeah. Exactly.
But the CV tools were very interesting for me personally, because I got like a lot of Eurorack in the time when they came out. And again, give me like the barrier to have less rack because money, right? And combining it with my Ableton, so I actually could use my one row in this time maybe. That was really a big point for me to start and really enjoying Eurorack then also, to get more into it, and then actually became for like 5 years hardware only. Thanks to also again you, because this like between was really helpful with the clock syncing and everything. I remember that.
Just for clarity, I didn't do it alone. Like I did a big part of it, but there were other people involved also. Back then, my partner Olaf and also Matt Jackson. So I would like to credit them as well for this wonderful, because it's a pretty monstrous pack. It's like I think it's like 8 devices or something like this.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah, it was a ton of work. It took us like more than a year, I think, to develop and to get the calibration right. Yeah, the auto calibrator was quite an effort. Yeah.
That's actually quite fast, 1 year for like so many tools.
Right. It's true.
Imagine you release 8 tools now, like with Iftah,
Yeah, you're right.
In 1 year, that's quite fast. Props.
Yeah.
I would love to talk about a device that I personally didn't use yet, and I want to use it. But maybe you can explain me a little bit. Pyra, is it right that I say it like this? Pyra.
Yes.
It's like physical modeling. Did I get that right?
Exactly.
Explain me a little bit what it is, what the philosophy around how you can up with that idea.
So it's like one of the things that I like the most to do is because of the simplicity and I just like the sound of it to emulate strings, because at its core it's very simple. You just need some kind of an impulse, or it can be a noise burst or a click, and then you just feed it into a short delay line basically, and then you can expand on this concept by using a filter in the feedback chain, and that's how you emulate a string basically. So this is like in a nutshell what Pyra is. But my problem with physical modeling synths is, for example, I think collision or tension, the one of Ableton, the stock
Corpus?
no, I think corpus is the
Collision.
effect. Collision,
Yes,
exactly.
effect, and collision is the synth for it.
So I hated the UI of Collision. I find it way too complicated to use. And I basically wanted, I really, let's say that I wanted an instrument that you can play without thinking too much, which has this, like, what defines a good instrument. Okay. So for me, what differentiates an instrument from a good instrument or a great instrument is correct parameterization. How would you verbalize this? Correct parameter ranges. So, for example, the reason the Minimoog is so successful or such a nice synth is also because the parameters are amazingly well thought out, the ranges of the parameters. It's kind of very easy to get good sounds out of it because the curves of the dials and the ranges of the dials are very easy and musical to use. Whereas, for example, the Jupiter 8 or the Jupiter 6, which is quite an amazing synthesizer, has, for example, a filter slider, which is like 4 centimeters long and covers like, or the L4 range covers like 20 kilohertz or something. So it's impossible.
Oh my God.
It's not fun to use.
You have to make micro spots like of sweet spots.
Yeah.
So I think what drove me to, two things drove me to develop Pyra. First of all is I wanted the ease of use and the rewardingness of a beautiful string sound. And second of all, I wanted it to be microtonal because back then, now most of the synths of Ableton are basically supporting MPE, the stock synths. But back then, Pyra was Pyra before. It was like there was like another version of this. It was not the case. So I couldn't find anything I could nicely like slide on using push or whatever. So this is Pyra basically. It's just a simple, but in my opinion, very nice sounding string emulation instrument, which can do everything from like plucked to bowed strings. It has like this feedback, another second feedback circuit, and you can play it microtonally, and it's very, very expressive. Like if you use an MPE keyboard with it, it really shines, basically. It behaves like a nice string. That's what I like. That's what it is.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Because I had an eye on it and it was not really clear for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've also seen it, and the fact that you mentioned MPE is interesting because I wanted to ask anyway, kind of like how the Push 3 standalone kind of like had influences on your development process, because now, I mean, we have both kind of like a standalone hardware unit that runs Max devices and it has MPE pads. Was that something where you thought when that was coming out, I definitely want to go more into the MPE direction, or also make sure that my devices are now also fully compatible with Push 3 standalone?
I would say that the first time I got seriously interested in MPE is when I played on the Push 3, like in one of the prototypes. Like I had access to it very, very early, actually, because I also developed CV tools for Push 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I had it, I don't know, like as soon as they had, like it looked very, very prototype version of it. And I think that this is actually what got me interested in MPE in the first place, because I'm not a very good keyboard player and I didn't really hook up with all this like Rolly, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, the rollies, yeah.
Rollies, etc. And I kind of like the layout of Push, basically. I kind of like because everything is like compact and I can reach everywhere.
Yes, it's not so
and I think
far away.
That exactly. And this is actually the reason that I became interested in MPE at the first place.
Okay, interesting. And then kind of like when the push got out, you made just sure that all the Max devices are also running on the push, because I can imagine it's kind of like before you only had Ableton Live, and now with push, is it much different to do to make sure that both the devices run on both systems, so to say?
It's not that complicated. There's just some things you need to know, but it's not that complicated actually. There's very, very little limitations, and I can see them also disappearing in the future. I can imagine that it will be even more seamless. I hope, at least.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. I hope so too.
You do need to make sure that things are correctly laid out and that everything. And there are some things that would conflict, that would prevent from a device to run. You will get an error message, so you need to know how to avoid this, obviously. But it's not such a big deal.
Okay, so it's just a little bit of. It's not like making a distribution for Linux possible. I always ask Ableton if they can do that, but it's like the problem is that there's too many distributions.
Yeah. I guess you also need to support it and everything. It's like, I guess there's more. I guess if they wanted to, they could just release a distribution.
You know, they already have it running in a way on Linux, because the standalone version is a Linux. You know, every small devices are Linux most of the time. So
yeah,
I just wish, you know.
I mean, I don't know. I guess they also think, you know, it's not enough to just release something. You also need to support it and like to. I guess there are many different variables in. It's not,
yeah, I can imagine.
I wouldn't know. It's not, but it's what I imagine, basically.
Yeah. Good. We talked about Pyra. I actually wanted to talk more about Sting, because it's such a big device. Also, like the new update, I just started to use it when it came out, and I'm still using it like the old one almost, you know. I still don't have to, still didn't use like all the new functions. I still have to learn it in a way. But when you came from the first one to the second one, what was like the range of ideas that you had that you say, okay, I have to make an update? That would really interested me.
I mean, there were actually like, I think 4 or 5 versions, in intermediate versions between the very first one I released back in 2013, I think.
Okay, I think in this time I didn't use it even.
Today, like, right.
I think I found the first one like quite late.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it can happen, of course, as long as you found it, you know. If you don't find it, it finds you. It comes knocking on your door.
Finds you.
The smiley haunts you down. It tracks you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so there was like there was this version that became quite popular back then, and then there were like many private versions I made for myself, which were actually the ground when I was playing live. Were the grounds. Many of them were kind of the grounds for the new version of Sting, like things that I had back then. I can elaborate in this in a second. And then we also had a version included in, I don't know if you know, but in 2014 and in 2016 we released, back then as Skinner Box, another drum machine called Time and Timbre. It's like on the Ableton Pack Shop. It's like a polymetric sequencer and 5 drum voices. And then that was the first version. The second version also had like an LFO included, and I mean it's 10 years by now. Like it's a 10-year-old device. It still works, but it was interesting because it had this very interesting timing concept where you can swing not only on 16th or 8 basses, but also on 5 or 3 or 11, and you can create this like really fluctuating, interesting rhythms. And all of the devices had this feature. Also the LFOs, the CV LFOs, and whatever. And so
oh my God, I need this.
That's nice. That sounds really
cool. That sounds so good.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
I don't care if it's old.
You know, I honestly, it's like the last update was 2016. I have no idea if it's still on the Ableton Pack Shop. Like,
let's see if it runs. If not, we figure that out.
And I mean, I always
Yeah.
have the feeling that Ableton is pretty good at kind of like downwards compatibility. So yeah, I also try to open some of my really old sets and they still work. Some samples are not in the exact same spot, but still the
But
sets
that's on
are
you.
working fine. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
on me, definitely. So yeah, I would be confident that this one is might be still working as well.
Yeah, it is still working. I know that it is working, but some functionality might be, or the UI would probably look weird. But anyways,
Yeah, possible.
it had a version of Sting also, which had an editor, like and also had this like interesting time concept where you could like apply weird counters to the actual sequencer. Yeah, so there was this version, and then there were some private hardware versions that I made, and then there were like
Whoa.
I wrote it in like almost every possible language, and then there was the version that I used like in the final years of Skinnerbox. I had a version which had like a complete my live setup back then was like a controller that I made myself and two monoms. Do you know what a monom is? It's like
No.
it's the first grid controller. It like inspired everything to come. Basically, they still exist. These guys still make them. Brian Crabtree from New York. Upstate New
Okay,
York.
so I was like the grid system, like push and launch pads and stuff.
Yeah, it was the first
mean-
one actually.
Okay,
Yeah,
Okay,
and,
interesting.
it was the very first grid. It was everything happened because of this grid. And maybe you probably know them. They make the ARC. It's like this very big encoders, and they have like Eurorack modules, norms.
Man, like some time ago for me, Eurek, I was working at Schneider's. I learned all of the names, and then when I stopped working there, I just forget all of it and never opened the site because of protection of my wallet.
Right.
Very
Fair
clever.
enough. So yeah, that was my setup, which was like a controller and two monoms, and one of the monoms had like something very similar to the push takeover mode, basically, with a chromatic keyboard down, like at the bottom, and ways to control the density and sequence type, etc. So, like it's ideas that I've accumulated over, I don't know, probably 12 years or something, and I really waited with and then there was another version in 2022, I think, that I put out, which had like an updated UI, and you could like generate a clip, basically a MIDI clip.
Yeah, that's the one that I think I found.
Yeah,
I think it's
nice.
I think I'm really quite young on it, to be honest. I remember I used an older version also, but then when I downloaded it again and I became like a proper user of it, I remember the GUI was already like in the colors that I like it was changing to it. Plus I could click the button for the MIDI notes, and that was for me like, okay, I never need something else.
Yeah, for me as well, because I love to generate some sequences and then tweak them just slightly so they fit my
you can still go on it,
It's amazing.
Yeah,
super cool.
I know.
I like that this device really works well with Ableton together. Ableton gives you all the functionalities already, but like it just generates something for you. And I like this like generative attitude in Ableton and in your devices, So like that's why I think the Sting was like for me the best thing you ever did.
Thank you, guys. I mean, yeah, it's I admit it in the beginning because I also have like a complicated relationship with generative music. Like my idea was like you hit a button, you hit it 5 times, you find something that you like, and you move on in life. So in the beginning, because I was pretty, I wouldn't say strict about it, but I was like, no, it's my design, and I want people to use it like this. I don't want people to get lost into too much generation. I want them to be able to find something that works.
And then move on.
Spoiler alert, it changed after. I want them to find something that works and then move on. I don't want them to sit there and click and like wait, like waste 2 hours in. So yeah, but then at some point it changed. Like I also a lot of people asked me for this. Honestly, there was like people always ask for features and this, and like it's a span life of like 12 years or something. I mean, some
Crazy.
things I think I will, yeah. And then I also saw a different value in it, in like using it as a modular tool, even, you know, and having the ability to modulate it and just generate. And you can, because for example, the first version of Sting, like changing the type of the sequence did not happen in real time. You would change it, but you would have to regenerate in order for it to update. And the version in 2022 did this in real time, where you all of a sudden,
that's why you can modulate it.
exactly, all of a sudden you have like basically every time you click generate, you have 256 patterns, because you have like 16 variations of every one of the 16 patterns So
Okay, I see. So then you can just kind of stripe between them if you just have 8 steps and 8 density, for example, and you just go between that.
And then, but that's also something that I also try to explain. Like a lot of people ask me, hey, why won't you put 64 steps, like sequences of 64 steps? And I try to explain that the idea behind it is that you don't need it. You can just like generate a sequence that you kind of like, and then basically move around, you know, between.
Yeah, and you have the possibility to modulate everything. So you can just modulate everything, and it starts to become, then you're working with the polymetric, and everything starts to be like no loop anymore, and it sounds like 64 patterns. But, and this is the key of this sequencer, it stays all synced somehow to some formula, right?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
And also in the very last update, I don't know if you tried it already. I think it's a nice addition. You can decide what is going to be randomized. So you can turn off the notes, the gates, the velocities, or the octaves. So you can kind of freeze something that you like. If you like, for example, if you generated a sequence and you really like the notes, but you don't like the rhythm, you just disable the notes and the octaves, and you just regenerate the rhythm, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry. Vice versa. If you like the rhythm but you don't like the notes, you can do the same, which is pretty cool because
yes,
you know, that's a nice way to get a lot of very subtle variations.
Yeah, and it's also a way to use generative stuff on purpose. Like really saying, okay, I like this melody that I would not come up, but I decided that this is the one that I want. And that's the cheat where some people say generative modular patches are cheating, but it's actually you saying like this sweet spot is the thing, right? And I love this concept. When I came back from Eurorack to Ableton, I realized that you even can map the faders now and modulate them. So I was like really happy that like when I got Sting 2, that I can modulate everything now that is also like before wasn't able to, because you just mentioned, right? So it's very cool that you give the possibilities to log things, because then I can randomize, say, okay, this is really what I like, and then go on from there and really use the generative part, just as a tool, and not just like, it's a one-click button compressor kind of vibe.
Yeah. Exactly. No, I think that was. I'm also very long in answering questions. So to answer your initial question, I realize now. So also what I wanted from Sting 2, like what my goal was to make it to a performance system. I wanted it to be an instrument in a way, not just a generative sequencer like the earlier versions, but something that you can play. Exactly.
And I think especially with the push takeover mode, you achieved that so nicely. It's like crazy when I've seen that, and I was like, holy crap, this is insane. I was actually thinking about getting an Oxy One, which kind of like goes in a similar direction, also is hardware, and it's made for playability. But honestly, for now, I think I have everything I need with Sting 2. And I even haven't tried the new arpeggiator mode that you added to the push layout. I definitely want to try this one out.
I remember when Sting 2 came out, we was talking about it in the podcast also. And then I already showed you a little bit what I'm doing with it or something. I don't remember more. And then you said, oh man, yesterday night I put it on my standalone. I take the push on my couch, not in the studio. And I was lost for 4 hours.
Yeah, totally. It's crazy.
Inspiring tools are like raw.
That's so nice to hear. Thank you. Yeah, I really want you to check out the arpeggiator mode. It also works with push now. So if you're in ARP mode, you can actually play chords and it will take this as an input, which is really nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's very fun because I think it's another step on the way to make it even more intentional. And I think it's important. Like I want it to be as intentional as possible, basically. If you want it to be intentional.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of up to you.
I think 100%. I think having the flexibility is just so nice for live performance because sometimes I just want a simple sequence. And as I said, I just want to tweak my synths and my effect chains and just have something playing. But then I also like to have the option to go into the sequence and tweak it to my liking, shape it and kind of like transpose it. I use that a lot in my ambient sets, just go to Sting and then transpose the sequence up and down. And yeah, it's just something I really, really like.
Yeah, with melodic, that sounds always really nice when you go from one octave and then lower. And it's like nice one. Totally in the arpeggio mode then, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Another thing I wanted to talk, because I saw this video and you said you are really passionate about it and you're doing it for decades, is about the recordings you're doing. Because you're really into recordings, and I'm about to go to Chile now. I'm actually preparing all my equipment right now to make recordings. I got like a new Tascam recorder, super small, with a 30-bit float finally.
Finally, nice.
32-bit is this is a big step for me because I was still clipping here and there. And you doing like, you zooming into sounds in a way, right?
Exactly. Yes, it's something that I've been doing for quite a while now, and it's both my, I don't know, I'm very bad in hobbies. I don't really have hobbies, you know, everything ends up being something that I do, but it's something that I do, I love, basically. I do bird recordings in the recent years more than like field recordings in general, but now in the last 2-3 years, it's really about birds, and especially high frequency recordings, so high resolution recordings which preserve detail up to, I'm interested in pitching down, basically. Preserve details up to 4 octaves down, something like this.
Okay.
Yeah, if anyone wants to check it out, I made some videos about it, actually. There's like zooming in on sound is the introduction video to my work on general ultrasonic recordings, and then there's another video I did which is focusing on birds, basically.
I see a bird video. Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I've seen some of them on Instagram, and honestly, when you pitch it down, it sounds so good. It's just like becoming these ambient textures, and I was thinking just put a reverb on it and call it ambient music. It sounds super good.
Yeah, many times the reverb is already there, actually, because you also pitch down the room, so reverb there for seconds you have too much reverb most of the time.
Oh my God, you get like a huge decay then, right?
Yes.
When you pitch it down like 16 times.
Exactly. If you slow it down 16 times, it's exactly the case. And that's actually quite a challenge also if you do, like, if you record in order to pitch down, if you record in a room, you always need to take this into account. Otherwise, there's too much diffusion, basically.
So you go in small rooms if you want really isolating sounds?
You proximity. You record with proximity, basically. You get really, really close, and you need dry room, and basically, you know, if you record tiny sounds. I love it for many, many different reasons, which I'm happy to elaborate on. I can talk about it for hours.
Yeah, please
Please do.
Please, I ask you really like as a personal question, not just like the technical part, and also why you like to do it. It's calming for you. Do you like to go outside?
Because it touches me on an existential level. Like, first of all, like not only the act of field recording or recording in general, because it's an act where it's a very participatory act. I feel that I'm a part of something when I do it. I'm listening to my environment. It's a very focused process, actually. But and that's like maybe the basics. But then when I'm specifically talking about pitching down sounds, when I do it, this touches me on an existential level, because I feel that I understand things better, that things that are so mundane and so banal and so quick for us to perceive, like a drop of a nail, become so significant when you slow them down, and they get a completely different meaning, basically. And you also understand how much detail they encapsulate. And
Yes.
I don't want to get too emotional here, but it's just there's so much going on in the world, basically. And also it helps you to understand. Also, by the way, I also did a video about this, but it helps you understand relationships between things. So you, for example, you understand that a toothpick, if you record it falling down and you slow it down 16 times, sounds like a wooden log. You know, everything is being just scaled, and it sounds very similar. It sounds the same. So it makes connections between things. You know, if you record a cat and you pitch it down in 2-3 octaves, it will sound like a tiger. You know, it's a way to connect.
Or the glass ball that you dropped. It was like metal, like explosion after an explosion. Some like a building falling apart. It's crazy.
Exactly. It's a way to scale the world. You know,
it's kind of like this macro verse, like when you have like the little stone on the floor and then you're zooming out till like solar systems, and then you end up back on a little rock. It's like kind of this attitude, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a super interesting perspective. I love that.
Thank you. And so there's that, like, and also, sound design, really nice. But I did some sound design. I actually did I don't know, it's quite a while ago, like a pack for Electron back in the days, which was like ultrasonic recordings, and some for myself. But it's more, honestly now I'm less interested in it I'm more interested in the process and in listening, but I find myself less and less using it to actually do something, except of research and listening, which is actually something that I do. It's not that I don't, I mean, in musical sense, I less and less use field recording to make music, but more and more for understanding things.
Okay.
As a research tool.
Yeah.
I feel you with that. Yeah, I feel you with that.
Yeah.
I have the recordings. I have this binaural mics, for example. I really like to like close my eyes and have this heavy right panning, and really when you close your eyes, you feel like you're there again, and then really capturing moments of silence. Like I'm obsessed with recording actually nothingness. It's so calming for me. And then I put this most of the time in my ambient music just as one layer dry without effects. Just that you are being somewhere that is on this earth.
Absolutely.
Because we always make so like spacey music, but we never have like literally room sound just as like a layer. And I was obsessed with that for like 2 albums already. And there I started to record, and I feel you with this, that sometimes I don't even want to record. I just love to record or like listening over the headphones, this like preamped sound that I normally don't recognize like this because I'm so used to my environment, and then hearing it so like filtered, or like when you have like a condensator mic or like, I don't know, a shotgun mic, so isolated on one sound. It's fascinating, and it teaches you a lot about nature.
Absolutely. I very much feel you. I think that you can just the idea of just, I mean, it's nothing new, but just to put some kind of ambience, but real ambience, you know, on the background, it's already nice. Like,
yes.
Yeah. I think we need it also.
Me. I think I also need to get into field recordings a little bit more, because I've tried it like 10 years ago and never got really back to it because I just have a really old recorder and I didn't really have fun with it. And just recently when I went out with my dog, I just recorded stuff that I found interesting, but just with my phone. And then it was quite all right, but the quality could be better. But it's in the moment, so then you not always have
they say the best microphone you can have on you is the one that on you,
That's exactly what I wanted to say. You know, same for me. I also had like a very long journey into field recording where I ended up like wanting the best possible quality and understanding that I'm not going to take it everywhere. Like,
No,
and
you don't bring it. It's too much.
yeah, so it just needs. I have small recorders, and like you can use like some really really high quality electrode capsules you can build yourself for nothing, basically for no money, and they will sound like shops almost if you do it right. They sound amazing. Like depends. Okay,
We have to talk about.
I don't want to piss off any.
Yeah, we have to talk about this in email.
Yeah. So yeah, and I agree. It's something that you need to have on you. Otherwise, it's just theoretical, and you won't use it. So its quality comes second, I would say. In this
Yes,
case.
I would say that too. It's more like what you record in the end. And that's also why like some people think this machine sounds so shitty for me, why it sounds so good for you. It's what you put in and sounds also most of the time. Like with the S4, for example, like some people ask me how I do the sounds. And I was like, I think why it sounds different is that I put different samples on it, and mangle them. Like the effects are the same. And it's really picky being like what you record, is also really important. Not just recording all random things. Like just it's like, okay, this is really interesting. I want the sound. And then I feel like you also start, right? So hear these things instantly in the middle of a conversation. I stop, be like, wait a minute. And I hear this like lamp here in Berlin was like dying somehow because of the oil, or I don't know. And I was like, what the? And I recorded it with the phone. I didn't have my recorder with me, The only thing what you can do is like investing in like an application where you have this like easy to share to your whatever and stereo mics, because that's sometimes really nice to have. And you have two mics in your phone, so they just normally don't have the access for it. But I think one guy in my community told me actually that they have, even in the iPhone app, in the Memo app now, the possibility and the options to make it stereo.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yes, so you should start there and then get some like simple recorder where you can put some mics on it, and then it's about mics, and that's another topic.
Oh yeah, that's a rabbit hole for itself.
What is your favorite
Totally.
mic, Iftah, to record things on the go? If you say, okay, you can bring one mic and one little recorder
My own
or something.
mics.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did actually for a brief time. I did made some mics, and even I did like two limited. There are like maybe, I don't know, 20 people in the world that have.
They're all limited edition.
Yeah, very much, because I thought about doing it, but then I got bummed about the. I did, it's you need to. There's a lot of bureaucracy, and I know that many people probably are just doing it like this, but I didn't feel like selling electronics with no permission here in Germany. That sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah.
True that. Germany is a bit rough with that sometimes.
Yeah. Also, I didn't feel the whole. It's like you start to sell hardware. You need to start to repair it. There's too much. It's too much to deal with.
Yeah,
like I just
it's too
wanted
much. You have to do it by yourself, making new batches. Digital products in this way is way easier, for example.
Yeah. Also, it has many upsides, but yeah, I didn't really have the time to really do it, like except of some. So, but I have my mics, and I really really like them. There's like a version which is very very good for ambience, and a version which is very very good for ultrasound, basically.
Nice.
So that's what I use.
I'm really looking for
them, I think.
I'm really looking for something like this. Let me know if you are like bored and want to do some. It's okay.
I'm disappointing people on daily basis. I get this question quite a lot.
No, you're actually doing the opposite.
Yeah, regarding to the mics, people ask.
Yeah.
And I always have to tell them that I might one day, but it's too much to deal with. Like and I'm pretty busy at the moment.
Yeah, okay.
And I don't think it will happen anytime soon. I never want to say never, never. I think I'll probably sometimes in the distant future will make some, but
then
it's
they have 2 days and they're sold out.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, it's hardcore. Yeah. No, I just realized I came from I think 7 years Ableton only, and with like one synth that you loop inside, blah, to hardware only for 5 years. Like I went the full route, modular only, like no computers, no nothing, just Eurorack, Live X, everything. And now I'm back in Ableton, and I kind of have this corner here free where I really just want to do things that I can record and nice stereo mics. That's all I want. So to just really like have them directly into the track and hear what it happened when you have a delay on it, and like really making music again with like your kind of your body. I don't know how to say that. Like even if you just record things, or the classic, you know, you do that 2 times and then you pan it left and right and it's like 2 different recordings. That stereo image that you can get.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, I totally feel you. Also, interestingly, I was always like the ultrasonic recordings is something that I do since a long time, but it was also always very dedicated, you know, recording an object, like less of a field recording. Field recording came, I'm a late bloomer. It came like also in the pandemic. Something that I discovered, like I got really, really interested in documentary photography and field recording at the same time, basically, which are very
They go well
comparable, I
together.
think. Yes,
Yeah.
I feel it's a very comparable themes. Yeah, and it's like something that I sometimes really do for recreational purposes. I mean, less and less. It always ends up as something. Less than, but there was times where I was like going to document for the sake of documentation.
Yeah, I have that with my little camera. I have like this little Fuji here that is really like something you can put in your pocket, you know. It doesn't matter. I have like this one lens and I use this lens since so many years. It's scratched. It's like you don't care about it really much. It's just like point and shoot. It's digital, but I have this like analog vibe. So it's always having this like, and I don't have to do it. I just make JPEGs. I don't care. I just want to document. So when like my kid or something grows up one day, it will be like, hey, look, there's Papa and Young or Mama and Young. And you can just share a little bit of your life, you know, with people. And this is documentation itself. It's without purpose. I get your point.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You always have to do something to make something with it, and then at some point you get tired of it, so you want something that is just for the purpose itself. Yeah, and that with recordings is a good point. And then you also make pictures, like you record a scene and you make a picture of the scene, or
sometimes
was it more like
sometimes like I'm also a Fuji user. Like I'm really into photography, but I also need to do videos sometimes, obviously. But I was, for quite a while, I was basically just documenting my neighborhood. I still do from time to time. I live in Berlin, Wedding. And also like doing field recordings and photography, basically. Like stills and field recording.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Did you do it just for yourself, or did you release somewhere?
Yeah,
something
no,
of that?
there is like an Instagram page, but it's very low key. I do it like you know, it's passion basically.
Cool.
Yeah, it's like being able.
I would love to see your eye of Neukölln Wedding.
It's on my. It's linked. Yeah.
It's linked.
It's linked on
I
my
don't have
page,
Meta.
yeah.
I don't have Instagram, but you have it on your page.
On my Instagram page, yeah.
You have it, okay, then I have to use the phone of my girlfriend or something.
Or I can show you next time we see it.
Okay, yeah, I would be one of those people that really read your blog. You know, like if I want content, I check the creator itself on their websites.
You are one of the people I would write a blog to, Maudio.
Oh, geil. Oh, geil.
Nice.
I didn't know actually you live in Berlin before, so it was really funny to hear that that you're actually around.
Yeah. I'm in Berlin, yes.
Berlin.
I'm in Berlin, but I'm also alternating between Berlin and the north of Germany. Exactly. It's also another long-term project. So yeah, it's like renovating a very old house, which hopefully will be done at some point. Yeah, we were supposed. Yeah.
On the beach?
Exactly. So it's also in the Lake District. So
Okay,
lots of lakes.
Nice. Also nice.
Yeah.
Okay,
cool.
nice, yeah. With family, it's the best thing you can do. The city is quite heavy sometimes.
Yeah, totally. Also, if you're into birding and field recording, it's a really,
Yeah.
really beautiful area.
Not just Grunewald every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Do you have any questions, my friend, actually? Because you didn't had so many for now. Because I have a last one.
You point at me, so it's a bit confusing.
Okay, on your both. This is for you.
Okay.
If you have questions
Right.
for us, or if you have more questions, because I have like my last questions here. I got everything I wanted.
No, also, I have to admit that the heating is not amazing here. You see that I move the whole time. It's like in this office space.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're getting
Yeah,
cold.
I realized-
Okay, you're getting cold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm
Then?
like, I feel a bit stiff.
Yeah, no, we don't want you to catch a cold. I
No,
mean,
no.
obviously, I would have 10,000 of more questions if we continue talking, which I would love, but I don't want you to freeze.
I mean, Berlin right now
if you're
is...
gonna
Okay, then
exactly.
I think, I mean, that's a more general one, but what really interested me in general, kind of like, I always love to hear from people, how people get inspired. Do you have something where you say, I mean, you already talked about kind of like your ultrasonic recordings, going out, taking pictures, but is there anything else what you like to do to get inspiration for new devices, for creative projects, for whatever it is?
I think
It's a good one.
it's a very tricky question. Sometimes this inspiration just come. I don't know how to explain it. Sometimes I'm like, it comes very unexpected. I'm like, there's an idea, usually in the most stupid and unexpected places, but I can feel that it's a good idea. I don't know. And it's like, then you're like, okay, I really hope nobody did it before me. I'm not going to find out because it's going to take too much time. I'm just going to do it. I don't have any routines to get inspiration. I don't have like golden answers to this. Honestly, it just happens. And sometimes it doesn't. And when it doesn't, I don't really fight it because I realize that also back in my music making days, it was a lesson I learned too late maybe. But I don't fight these moments where it doesn't work. I end up really tired and annoyed if I do. So yeah, I just, it's not that I would like lie on my back for a year and if nothing happens and just wait for it. But, in this daily, we get into the realm of January, February. These are hard months, winter is going to be long. People are tired. It's dark. You're not always inspired, So I tend not to fight it, basically. That's what I can say. I totally did not answer your question, but
I mean, you answered it somehow.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, like the not fighting it is something that I'm currently learning myself, because in the past I really tried to force something that just wasn't there yet, and it just stressed me out in the end. So I can totally hear you on that. Sometimes it's just like, now I like to lay on my back, do nothing, and that's more productive in terms of generating ideas and getting into a creative state than if I sit here and force myself, okay, I need to do something, I need to do this and that.
Yeah.
So I totally hear you about that. That's some great advice, actually.
Yeah.
That was a nice question also. Like asking
Very
everyone
nice
just this one good question, Because here on the podcast, we try to like ask ourselves sometimes questions that you maybe don't have in the typical tutorial way, right? The technical stuff is on the channels, but with the Signal Chain stories, we try even having more the philosophic stuff, and also like, okay, I'm sitting here, open Ableton, I feel nothing, what I should do. So it's a good question also to hear, like, yeah, don't fight it, but don't sit there for 25 years, obviously.
Yeah, totally. There's a middle ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
My last question was actually really because I am myself working with developers right now on like, I think 3 projects parallel. One is already 2 years old. We're working on it and it's a Max device. My question would be more like what you would recommend to someone who starts with Max or Max for Life, because you are like really long time already inside, and I think a lot of people look up to you when it's about becoming a Max developer. So yeah, what you would start to like.
I think I think it's the perfect question because we can end this video in a loop where people could watch it endlessly. Because I think it was one of the first things that I said in the beginning of this interview. I think what you should do is you should have a necessity. Like you should, I mean, it's a personal thing. Learning in a structured way, going into something like Max in a structured way can work for some people. But for me personally, and I think that's an advice I like to give, is that you should try to think of something that you need, something that you don't have and you need, and try to build it and figure out what you need in order to build it. Instead of, for example, doing tutorials on how to build a ring modulator. I'm sorry, it's like the most common things. Yeah. So that's just my personal story. It worked really well for me. And I think it's a great motivator because you need to be motivated. Otherwise, if you have no programming background, and it can be very overwhelming. Like you come from making music into something. Yeah, exactly. It can be very frustrating, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that what can help, like I think that people tend to be better at things if they are motivated to do them and they understand why they do them. So that's
perfect. That was the perfect answer that I needed.
100.
Actually, you're so right, because in the moment I figuring AI programming out, like this vibe coding thing. I was just like testing it for curiosity, right? And I built my own little like to-do agenda app somehow, synced with my Google Calendar and everything. And it's my own design and everything looks like I like it. And I'm like literally using it since weeks. And I'm like, I love it. It's my own thing. And it pushed me to go on this like developing and learning how to make a back end and all these things just by I want this tool. I want it looking like this, feeling like this, and working like this. And I think it's the best thing because with this, I actually did TypeScript coding right now. And I'm like, wow, okay.
And, it's addicting.
It's addicting, yeah. Like me, 4 a.m, and I'm like still making this fucking software. I'm like, why I'm doing this?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Yeah, I think I just need a tool that I really, really need. And then just building it. And the good thing with Max is also you can open other patches and just see how they are built most of the time. But it's very like open source, community friendly.
Exactly.
That's super nice.
That's cool.
Exactly.
That's from my side then. Like I think everyone who's feeling like me got all the questions answered.
Yeah.
If you have one more, otherwise I would give the man a blanket.
No. Same for me. And I don't want Iftah to freeze because
I need another pair of socks.
No, definitely. That was really amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time. That was amazing to get some insights into your brain, basically.
Yeah.
And get to know you a little better. That was really awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Man,
actually,
an absolutely pleasure.
Okay. I'm running into a hot shower.
Yeah,
okay,
go for it.
Please do that. Please do that. And don't catch a cold. All right.
Okay.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. And see you again in 2 weeks for another episode.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.